The morning sun streamed through the sleek glass windows of the corporate building, casting long shadows across the bustling office. The air was charged with excitement. Rumors about the company's new CEO had been circulating for weeks, but no one knew who it would be. As employees exchanged whispers and guesses, Sarah, the head of HR, strode through the office with her usual air of authority. Known for her no-nonsense attitude, Sarah was someone who prided herself on maintaining what she called high standards. Today, she had one more task on her plate, interviewing a candidate for what she assumed was an entry-level position. As she approached the conference room, Sarah glanced at the candidate's name on her clipboard. James Carter, she muttered. Strange, they didn't even include a photo on the file. When she opened the door, her confident demeanor faltered for a split second. Sitting in the room was an older black man in a wheelchair. His sharp suit and composed posture radiated professionalism, but Sarah's first thought wasn't about his qualifications. Instead, her face twisted in confusion. "What is a man in a wheelchair doing at an interview like this?" she asked under her breath, not realizing her words were loud enough for James to hear. He didn't flinch. Instead, he looked her directly in the eyes and smiled warmly. "Good morning," he said. "Thank you for taking the time to meet with me." But Sarah wasn't interested in pleasantries. Her skepticism was evident as she scanned his resume, barely reading it before tossing it onto the table. "I'm going to be honest with you," she said. "This company demands excellence, and the position you're applying for requires someone dynamic. I'm not sure how someone in your situation would handle the responsibilities. Before we go any further, take a moment to subscribe to this channel. Stories like this aren't just entertaining, they're eye-opening, and they remind us of the values we should uphold every day. Don't miss out on more powerful content. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications now." Back in the room, James remained calm, though the tension in the air was palpable. "I appreciate your honesty," he replied. "But I believe my qualifications speak for themselves." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Qualifications aren't everything. This position requires leadership, adaptability, and stamina. I'm not sure you're the right fit." Her tone was sharp, dismissive, and dripping with prejudice. Outside the room, a few employees had stopped in their tracks, drawn by Sarah's raised voice. They exchanged uneasy glances, unsure of whether to intervene. One junior recruiter mustered the courage to speak. "Maybe we should give Mr. Carter a chance to explain his vision," she said softly. But Sarah waved her off. "I've been doing this for years," she snapped. "I know when someone's not a fit." James, however, wasn't rattled. He leaned forward slightly, his eyes steady. "With respect, I think you're making assumptions about me. If you'd allow me to elaborate, I'd be happy to share how I plan to contribute to the company." Sarah sighed and gestured for him to continue. The interview proceeded, but her attitude remained cold. She cut him off repeatedly, barely acknowledged his answers, and seemed more interested in ending the conversation than genuinely evaluating his skills. Finally, the interview concluded. Sarah stood abruptly, eager to dismiss him. "We'll be in touch," she said curtly, already heading for the door. But before she could leave, James calmly took out his phone and made a quick call. Moments later, the company's COO entered the room, his expression unreadable. "Sarah," he said, "we need to have a word." Confused, Sarah followed him into the main conference room, where the senior leadership team had gathered. To her shock, James was already there, seated at the head of the table. "Allow me to introduce myself properly," James began, his voice firm but measured. "I'm James Carter, the new CEO of this company." The room fell into stunned silence. Sarah's face turned ghostly pale as the realization hit her. I didn't realize," she stammered, searching for words. James interrupted, his tone steady but resolute. "That's exactly the problem. You didn't bother to realize. Instead, You judged me based on my appearance and made assumptions about my capabilities. Is this how you treat every candidate who walks through those doors?" Sarah's voice trembled. I didn't mean to offend." James raised a hand to stop her. "Intent doesn't erase impact. This isn't just about me. It's about the culture we foster here. If this is how our hiring process operates, then we have a serious issue." Turning to the senior leadership team, James continued, effective immediately, "I want a full review of our HR policies. We will implement mandatory training on diversity, equity, and inclusion for all employees, starting with senior management." The COO nodded in agreement, and the rest of the room followed suit. Sarah, realizing the gravity of her actions, lowered her head in silence. James concluded the meeting with a powerful statement: "This company will stand for innovation, integrity, and inclusivity. If anyone cannot align with these values, they are welcome to leave." Over the following weeks, the company underwent a significant transformation. James's leadership set a new standard, proving that true success comes from embracing diversity and valuing every individual's potential. This story serves as a powerful reminder that respect, fairness, and open-mindedness are not optional, they are essential. If this message resonates with you, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and leave your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel for more stories that inspire and challenge the way we see the world.